All right, Shalom, this is part 2. So, let me read this again. Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah. Who is our Lord? And this precept, Yahushai. All right, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood, because the priests are the Levites. All right, specifically, because there's Levites and then there's priests, because it separates them. And the reason is that because not everybody that's a priest is, not everybody that's a Levite is from the same person, okay? Because they're all from Levi, but Levi had several sons, okay? The priests are people that are from, I think it's Korah, possibly, or they're descendants of Aaron, though, for sure. People that descend from Aaron, which was Moses' brother. All right, but you can look up, that lineage. It's kind of slipped my mind with the father of that off the line, but that's the point, okay? So that's why people that would come from Merari, for example, would most likely, they would not be priests, okay? Because they didn't descend from Aaron, all right? That's why it separates, but every priest is from the tribe of Levi, though. All right, well, except King Melchizedek, okay, which was Yahushai, which that's a whole different video, okay? Reincarnations in the Bible, but that's a whole different video. However, I will put, eventually, for every video I make of this, I probably will put the website in the description box that has a lot of information on it that you can read through, okay? But read through it with the spirit, you don't want to read too much, okay? Because there's very deep stuff on there. All right, but anyways, continuing on. So now we're going to go back to Matthew 1 and 21. We're going to read it again. And she shall bring forth a son, which is Mary, bringing forth Yahushai, and thou shalt call his name Yahushai, for he shall save his people. So who's his people? We just found out, all right? Or we just looked at it. Israelites. He's from the tribe of Judah. His people are the nation of Israel. Okay, specifically at the time, his people were Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, because the northern kingdom, after the Assyrian captivity, fled into a different land and then later departed from the Assyrians and went to the Americas. Okay, but there are northern kingdoms scattered there. Just like today, all the tribes are scattered. But the 12 tribes chart, it gives you, it gives you just a general idea of where that tribe is mainly dwelling right now. Okay, that's all. People take it way too literal. All right. So, for he shall save his people, the Israelites, from their sins. Now, what is sin? That's very important to understand who he came for also. All nations, it will tell you that nations sin, and, but they're not literally actually sinning. Now, here's why. All right, it'll say that they sin, but by that it just means they're being wicked. All right, they're doing wicked behavior. Okay, they're being extremely wicked. Okay, they're doing all manners of wickedness. So let's go to 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. All right. So committing adultery, eating pork. All right. Celebrating Halloween. Okay. Eating crab. Woman wearing pants. That's sin. Okay. That's sin. Now, let's go to Romans 9. And Romans 9 is a very, very heavy chapter. And it really cuts Christianity as a whole. All right. Let me start at verse 1. I say the truth, this is Romans 9 and 1. I say the truth in Hamashiach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh. Now hold on, before we read on, what is Paul? Well, Paul, people say, well, he's a Roman. What is a Roman? Oops, Lakia kind of messed that up right there. There we go. So what is a Roman? A Roman is just somebody that lives in Rome, or was born in Rome, or has citizenship of Rome. Okay, because he wasn't born in Rome, he has a Roman citizenship. Okay? I'm pretty sure he was born in like a Turkey area or something. He's born in Tarsus, right? So just because you're a citizen of Rome doesn't mean you, well, I mean, you can call him a Roman if you want, but that's not what he is. Because what were the Romans? The Romans primarily at that time were Edomites. Okay? I say then, hath Yahweh cast away his people? Yahweh forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So he's a Jew from the tribe of Benjamin, which is of the southern kingdom. Okay? Now, back to Romans 9, verse 2. Verse 4. Well, let me read verse 3 again. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashiach, for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption, and the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of Yahweh, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashiach came, who is over all, Yahweh, blessed forever. Amen. So Yahweh Shai came, and it tells you right there in verse 5 that he came only for the nation of Israel. All right. Skip down to verse 7 here. It says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called. Okay, which went down to Jacob. Okay. That's pretty much it from here. Well, later down it even tells you, verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. All right, and that was written in Malachi 1. Okay, read verse 1 to 4, which I'll actually get it. All right, so Yahweh hates the nation of Edom. Okay. The burden of the word of Yahweh to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. All right, and if you actually look up Edom, let me do this quick. I think if you look up Edom in the Zondervan Bible, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, which goes off, but on a certain part it's actually right. All right, if we go to Edom, I'm pretty sure it's the only nation that wasn't promised mercy. Okay. Slovakia. Gotta find exactly where it says that. It says it in one of the Bible dictionaries. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it might be this one. But if not, Slovakia. Well, this is heavy too. Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. Here it is, the Wadi Habai Shemel Shai. So let me read that again. Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments. All right, because these have not happened yet. The book of Obadiah has not happened yet. Okay, because the so-called white man is Esau Edom. Now, right here it says, she is the only neighbor of the Israelites. Which I don't know why it says she, because it's talking about a whole nation of people, Edom. But I guess, it's just a term. So basically, Edom is the only neighbor of the Israelites who was not given any promise of mercy from Yahweh. Okay? So, right there, all right, Edom is the nation that is going to be destroyed after 1,000 years of bondage. Okay? Because all the nations are going into slavery for 1,000 years. Okay? For all the things they've done to the children of Israel. But that could be a different video or later in the video. Okay? This is well, actually, I read it all. Alright, so there you go. And it's restated in Romans 9 and 13. Alright, and we know that Esau is not done away with, because a lot of Christians try to say, oh, no, Esau is done away with, the nation of Edom is done away with. That's wrong. That is wrong. Because according to the Apocrypha, which was taken out of the Old Testament, which this is of Ezra, which was a prophet within 500 to 400 years of Yahushua on the scene, 2 Ezra 6 and 9 says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." All right, let's start at verse 7 though. "Then answered I and said, What shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?" The end of what? The world. Okay, because there's a world of Esau and then the world of Jacob's coming. "And the beginning of it that followeth. And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." Okay, so the end of the world is Esau, okay? And how do we know when Esau is done away with, okay? Because Esau never served 1,000 years of slavery, the nation of Edom. All right? And also, if Esau was done away with and that already happened, then Jacob would be in rulership right now, which means that the Israelites would be on top, which the Israelites are not on top. All right? The Israelites are not on top. Okay? Our kingdom is not established. Also, it tells you that there would be no more war. Okay? When the Israelites get all put back together in their land, there would be no more war. All right? We're clearly in the end times. Because if Jacob was already ruling, then there would be no end times, because Jacob's rulership is going to be forever. Why would Yahweh pull down Jacob from rulership if he promised that we would rule forever after Esau goes down? So that tells you right there, common sense, not trying to sound proud or boastful, but common sense tells you there that Esau is not done away with yet. Okay? He's in rulership right now. Okay, which is why the wickedness is exceedingly polluting the whole earth right now. Okay? Because like we read in Malachi 1 and 4, they're known as the wicked basically, right? They are known as the wicked. They're the border of wickedness. They are the wicked nation, okay? There's 18 total nations. There's the protagonists, which are the so-called good guys, the Israelites, which we've been, extremely wicked, which is why we're on the bottom right now. All right? And there's also the antagonist, which is Esau Edom, which is the so-called bad guys, right? And then there's 16 other nations which are literally known in the Bible as spit or nothing, okay? And I can prove that as well, okay? Because I'm not speaking out of my heart. I'm speaking out of the scriptures. This is Job 9 and 24. "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" So the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Who's the wicked? Esau Edom. So Esau Edom is in rulership right now. Okay, they got out of rulership and now they came back in about the 1500s, the Renaissance era. That's when they started painting over all the icons and taking over again. Okay, and they've been ruling ever since. All right, and really it's starting with the elite banker families, which are Amalekites, the head tribe of Esau, and they call themselves Jewish. Okay, they're not the real Jews. Okay, they're identity thefts. They're imposters. Okay, they're mainly of the tribe of Amalek. Well, those Jewish people are from the tribe of Amalek, but the elite banker families, there's like 13 of them, just to name some off the top. There's the Rothschilds, the Oppenheimers, the Kennedys, the Rockefellers. That's pretty much what I got off the top, but you can look up those families yourself. All right, I'm pretty sure the Oppenheimers was one of them. Anyways, continuing on. To prove that they're spit, we can actually get that in Ezra's writings as well. In the same chapter as when it says Esau is the end of the world. All right, this is 2 Ezra 6 and 54. "And after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all. And the people also whom thou hast chosen." Now, who is this people? Well, let's go to, first let's go to get in Genesis. I want to get right to the scriptures, right to the specific one I'm looking for. Here we go, Genesis 17. Ishmael is not the chosen, all right? Isaac is. But that was the quickest way to get to this scripture. That's what I thought of at first. This is Genesis 17 and 19. "And Yahweh said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac." all right, which Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the line that we come from, the Israelites. And I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Now, who would that get established with after? Jacob, all right, and then Jacob's sons. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. Excuse me, Salakia. And now it's clarifying it again. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year. Okay? So he literally tells you that he didn't establish it with Ishmael. He only established it with Isaac. Right? He literally restated that just to tell you. So, the old covenant, everybody knows, is only for the Israelites. Now, people say, well, the new covenant, that's where... Okay, well, if that were the case, why does it mention the other nations so poorly in the Bible? It calls them spit. Says that he hates, the nation of Edom. And why is that then? That wouldn't make sense. And also, you can go to Jeremiah 31. I'm pretty sure it's Jeremiah 31 and 31. And it tells you who the new covenant is for and what it is. Jeremiah 31 and 31. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So the house of Israel being the northern kingdom and the house of Judah, the southern kingdom. All right, so that's what the new covenant is. That's who the new covenant is made for and made with. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, which we did, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel, which that's talking about the whole nation of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. All right, so they won't sin anymore, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. See, this is a prophecy, so don't you think the other nations would be involved in this? They're not. Okay. Sometimes when it says strangers, it's talking about Israelites. Even sometimes it says heathen and it's talking about Israelites, because that's how disconnected we were. All right? Sometimes it says Gentiles in the New Testament. Whenever it says Gentiles and involves salvation, those are Israelites. Okay? Now, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. Saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. All right? So, that's what the new covenant is. With the nation of Israel, that Yahweh is going to write the law in our hearts. All right? So we don't commit sin anymore. All right? So we're made perfect. Okay? Which is why Yahweh Shai came in, for grace. Grace doesn't mean, I'm just going to sin as much as I want because I'm under grace. No. Listen, if you were grounded, all right, your guardians or your mom and dad, whoever, your grandpa and grandma, whoever, if they said, you're grounded, but we're going to let you, play outside till 7. You're like, okay, you're excited because you get to go out. They're giving you a chance to get some exercise even though you're grounded. Now, are you going to say, well, they just gave me, they're being nice to me, so I might as well, I'm just going to stay out as late as I want. I'm going to come in at 10. No, you're going to come in at 7 p.m. because you're not going to abuse that privilege that they gave you. Okay? You're not going to abuse that privilege. So when Yahweh, has Yahweh Shai die for the nation of Israel, specifically the elect, and you're under grace, which means if you go off on accident, you're forgiven, why would you abuse that and keep sinning? That's not what it said. Whenever Yahweh Shai healed somebody, or most of the times, like the adulterer, right? She was known as the adulteress. She committed adultery. She made a mistake, and she knows she made a mistake. All right? She felt very ashamed. Yahweh Shai stopped them from stoning her. And what did he say? Did he say, go sin, you're under grace? Or wait until I die, you'll be under grace? No. He said, sin no more. All right? So that's all that is, man. That's all grace is. Keeping the law, okay? To the best of your ability. Because we're in captivity, all right? So if you forget it's Sabbath, which goes by the new moon, okay, which once again, well, that's on the website, and that's a different topic. It goes by the new moon, and if you forget, you're like, oh man, it was Sabbath, I forgot. and you cooked, you would remember and you would better yourself. Scriptures say a righteous man falls 7 times, or falleth 7 times. All right, but the thing is, the righteous man is going to get up again. All right, scriptures also say, don't let your iniquities and your sins basically hold you down. Okay. So now moving on. Let's see if I got anything bookmarked. Oh yeah, right. All right, so this is Salakia. Salakia. This is 2nd Ezra 6. Verse 54. And after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All right, so I want to get some more scriptures on that. All right, to prove who the chosen is. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. For thou art an holy people, which holy means separate. Unto Yahweh thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Okay? So he set the nation of Israel above everybody else. That's being a separatist. That's also being racist. Really. Because being racist means, well, we already saw that the Heavenly Father is racist and a separatist. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. Elder Apostle Gabar, which is, one of our teachers right now, all right, he even said that basically, being racist is a sign of intelligence, all right? Because it is. Because we're not the same nations. The nation of Israel was created greater than everybody else, all right? And that's clear every day. So, there's no such thing as all men are created equal. And when the devil, Esau, Edom said that, the so-called white man, when they were making that, all men are created equal, they were stealing the land from so-called Native Americans, which make up the tribe of Gad and Reuben, right? Well, Reuben being Seminole Indians, and also stealing the land from the Issacharites, which are so-called Mexicans, all right, which were really originally the Aztecs, all right, and then, and also had so-called Negroes, which make up the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, specifically Judah, in slavery. That's when they were saying that. So they were saying they didn't consider you a man. So you weren't equal to them. They were saying all so-called white men are equal is what they were saying. That's pretty clear. Okay, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to really figure that out. But they teach in schools, and which is really indoctrination, they teach that they're talking about everybody. No, because they had us in slavery when they were saying that. When they were saying all men are created equal, they were beating you in the back for not working and picking enough cotton. How is that being equal? They wouldn't beat a so-called white man like that. They wouldn't even force him to work out in the field like that. All right? Period. That's not equal. And you Israelites marching for equality now, you shouldn't want equality. You should want equity. All right? Because you've been held down for so long, man. And really, you shouldn't want equity either, like, to be rewarded from them. You should want Yahweh to send his son Yahweh Shai back to put the Israelites back on top. Because that's what's going to happen, all right, whether you're with it or not. All right, this is Deuteronomy 14 and 2. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. And that's the spirit. It says right there, thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. And if you do, such as pork or crab or lobster, then you're committing sin. Okay? So now going back to 2nd Ezra 6 and 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. Now Ezra, if you go to 2nd Ezra chapter 1, it tells you that he is from the tribe of Levi. He's a descendant of Aaron. Okay? He was a priest, he was a scribe, and he was a prophet. Okay, as for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said, meaning Yahweh said, that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. Now, why is this? Read this again. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, that's talking about other nations, which have ever been reputed as nothing, and that's how we know for sure, because it's saying the heathen are above us and they're reputed as nothing. That's how we know for sure it's talking about the other nations. Have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. All right? Why is that though? Why are they devouring us? Why are they being put above us? Why are they being lords over us? In other words, being masters over us? Because we sinned. We kept going off, right? Because we were sinful. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28. You can read Deuteronomy 28, the whole chapter, okay? Verse 1 to 14 are the blessings that we get. Okay, verse 15 to 68 are the curses if we did not hearken. Okay, this is verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Okay, we're going to skip through it here. And it basically goes a lot into slavery, being put in slavery. All right, this is a good one. Verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. All right, because the Israelites are in all nations, which is why we even have Israelites that look like the heathens, but their patrilineal goes back to a tribe. Okay, so by that it's talking about, what is an example? Because it's important to know, put this out there as well. The Israelites are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Right? And like I said, the people whose father's patrilineal goes back to a tribe, which you can tell by their spirit. Okay, because the Israelite spirit is different from everybody else. Okay? Now, to make it more specific, all the Israelites are people of so-called Negro and so-called Indian descent. Okay? Now, examples of bywords could be black, African American, Latino, Hispanic, spick, nigger, or nigga, whatever one you want to use, Afro American, Afro Latino, what other ones in the Mexican, Jamaican. I mean, these are all, also all the racial slurs, those are all bywords and stuff like that. And really, they're just to cover it up, especially black. Because our people love calling themselves black. But they're not. Because they're brown. They're different shades of brown. They're not black. Okay? So, this is Deuteronomy 28. Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Okay? And, the scriptures are manifold, but when I think about this, I think of the conquistadors. Okay? Bartolome de las Casas wrote a lot about the conquistadors and what they did to the northern kingdom. Okay? Because the so-called Latinos and Native Americans were in slavery as well. And they were actually in slavery before so-called Negroes. Okay? Just like they actually went into captivity in Assyria before the Babylonians took the southern kingdom. Okay? A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. Seriously, look up the book, A Brief Destruction of the Indies by Bartolome de las Casas, and it's going to tell you all about what they did. Okay, and that's just some examples. That's just what we were able to hear about. Okay, they did terrible things. They butchered people. They had sick dogs on people. All right, I'm pretty sure they lynched and lit fires under them, smashed their children's head against rocks, specifically babies. They did all these terrible things, and those things were also done to so-called Negroes in slavery. All right, it's no different because they're both the same people. Okay? And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed. which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. All right, and really, ultimately, all tribes are so-called black people. Like in the past, they all look like so-called black people, basically, except different features. Okay, different types of different shades of brown and all that. They all had like a type of so-called Negro look. Okay, but today they're known as so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, or so-called Negroes and Indians. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying. Because a lot of our people don't have the ancient look that they did before, is basically what I'm saying, okay? That's what I'm saying. Because there are people that say all tribes are so-called Negroes, and they literally, say that everybody that's the so-called Negro is an Israelite, and if you don't look like that, you're not. That's wrong, okay? But I'm saying that all the tribes really looked like so-called black people in the ancient times, like way, way, way long time ago, okay? Because there are people from the Northern Kingdom that look like so-called Negroes right now, okay? And you wouldn't even know that they're from the Northern Kingdom, all right? But it's because our people lost the ancient look. But once again, the Israelites today are known as so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? Specifically so-called people of so-called Negro and Indian descent from their father's seed line, okay? They're patrilineal. Now let's go down to, this is a curse too, to help you understand who the Israelites are. Verse 54, so that man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, or toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Doesn't everybody, when you grew up, people always made jokes about so-called black men, or so-called black children, their fathers leaving them. Stuff like that, making jokes about it. People, make memes about it. About their father being gone. Yeah, well, that's a curse. That's part of the curses. Verse 64, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay, which is going into Christianity, Islam, these other false, these false religions. Okay. Now verse 68, this is the big one right here. And Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again by the way by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Okay, so Egypt right there just means bondage. So Yahweh is going to bring the Israelites into bondage by the way of ships. Okay, that was the slave trade. Okay, and it started with the Northern Kingdom, and then it was the Southern Kingdom by the slave trade, the ships. Thou shalt see it no more again. That's talking about the land of Israel. The Israelites will not see the land of Israel as a whole nation until Yahweh brings them back, until Esau is brought down. Okay, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, so put in slavery, and no man shall buy you, meaning redeem you from it. Okay, except Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. Okay. So that's why that the heathen have been lords over us and are to this day, because we have sinned against Yahweh. Okay? But we thy people, this is 2 Ezra 6 and 58. But we thy people whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Okay, so I'm going to close out this lesson. I'm going to make a part 3, Lord willing. All right, this was part 2. Shalom. I'll be back.